writer's block is a luxury for people who aren't writing to make a living. It happens to the best of us. I was writing and writing, and everything was going great, and then I hit a complete wall. Now, I don't believe in writer's block per se. I believe in project block. I've talked about this on other videos and in other formats before. Writer's block is a luxury for people who aren't writing to make a living. You can say, oh, I'm stuck, and then kind of wander off and go get a cup of coffee and, and think about it for a few days or weeks or months before you come back to it. Well, if you want to be a professional novelist, if you want to be a writer who is paid to write stories, you don't have the luxury of writer's block. But you still can run up against a wall sometimes. It does happen, and it has happened now. Dun dun dun. So what do? The easiest, simplest thing that I have found to break through a logjam of writer's block or hitting a wall, whatever you want to call it, is simply to introduce the worst thing that could possibly happen in the context of the story. There's an old adage, I suppose, where if you get stuck, if you get writer's block, just have two guys with guns kick in the door. And I can't remember who first said it. It was a mystery or thriller writer. It may have been Raymond Chandler. I'm gonna have to look that up. Anyway, which makes sense, and it's kind of a joke, but it makes sense. Like, yeah, if you get stuck, you just, a couple guys bust in with guns, and you just go on from there. So, that's funny, but it doesn't really help if you're writing a contemporary young adult novel, or a pastoral romance, or an epic fantasy, or whatever. I mean, you could shoehorn it in there, but the point of the idea is to have something go wrong in the context of the story, the worst possible thing that could happen right now in the context of the story you are trying to write. So, with this as yet untitled story about my two girls, Emily and Trish, I have them headed towards the carnival. And what is the worst thing that could happen right now? Well, they're crossing the street. The worst thing that could probably happen is they get hit by a car. Okay, I could do that, except that takes the story in a completely different direction. The whole point of this story at the moment was to have something take place at the carnival or be motivated at the carnival, through the carnival, connected to the carnival, I don't know. But a car accident wasn't the direction I wanted to go in. It's just that's not appealing to me for this particular story. So a car accident is not in context of this particular story. Okay, you could have an asteroid hit the planet. Okay, again, not in context. You could have dragons fly in or ninjas attack or whatever. Cool. I'd love to read stories about any of those things. They're not in the context of this particular story. In the context of this particular story, what is the worst thing that could happen? Emily just takes off and disappears. Bam, she's gone. So I invented out of whole cloth, again, this is, I want to remind you that this is not a, hello, Margaret. This is not a story that I have outlined. I'm just what's called pantsing it, meaning I'm writing by the seat of my pants. I have no idea for sure what's going to happen or how it's going to unfold. So I, in the spirit of writing as I go, and the spirit of pantsing the story, I just forced Trish to stop. So they cross the street, she stops, ties her shoe, and she's muttering about something, and then when she stands up, Emily is already way down the street and turning into the carnival here. I stood up just in time to see Em in her striped shirt disappearing into the entrance of the carnival a football field's length away from me. That's it. And so now, that is, as far as my narrator's concerned, that is the worst thing that could possibly happen. She's lost M, and now she has to go back in, or she has to go in to the carnival and find her. And so everything that takes place after that is, for the time being, is focused on is focused on Trish trying to find Emily. That's the biggest conflict, that's the biggest obstacle she faces right now. And you know what? It broke the logjam. It gave me something to write about. Specifically, when we talk about NaNoWriMo, this can work wonders when you sit down to get your, 1,700 words down for the day, and you're like, I have no idea where I'm going with this. Just think about the worst thing that could happen in context of the story and see what happens. Go from there, okay? So, I hope that's helpful. I'm excited to see where the story's going now. At the moment, as we stand right now, Emily is gone. She's in the carnival somewhere, but we don't know where, and Trish has to go find her. So, we'll just have to see. We'll have to see what happens. And that's all I've got. So keep writing. Don't give up on this. I know you can do it. We're not even halfway there yet. Just keep going, okay? We will talk to you tomorrow.